All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe Imbriano. We're coming to you live once again, and this is another broadcast. We're going to be hitting on some more of this very important information. Want to make sure we have a connection before I continue. Yep, looks like we're getting somewhere now. You guys hear me okay? Yep. Hey, all right, there we go. All right, folks, you know, it's another day, and to some of you, it's just another dollar. And to some of you, it's another painful experience in this existence. But I want to tell you something, folks. There's never been a time in human history where people have lived free from oppression. Okay? It's been a fact of life since the dawn of time, since the fall in the Garden of Eden. And the problem is, too many people try to turn life into a fantasy land and denial land. And, you know, they want everything to be an amusement park experience on a daily basis. And I will tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. You cannot live like that, because evil never rests. And the problem is, good people spend too much time being self-absorbed and denying what the Bible teaches, and that is that we live in a fallen world. And people are asleep. And while we sleep and while we slumber, the inventors of evil things work long into the night. Why do you think you have all these programs on television all night, folks? Well, electromagnetic weaponry is a fact of life, folks. And I want to tell you something. Electromagnetic weaponry is aimed at all of us. And here's the deal. It can't work unless you bring it into your house and you let them put it on your property. Now, we need to discuss a couple of things here. And I want you to do some research on this. We're seeing an incidence right now of this mystery illness. I talked about it this morning. They call it acute flaccid myelitis, where these people are losing the use of their arms and legs, and they're getting numbness in their extremities. Well, there was a high school in the United States about a year and a half ago where not one girl, not two girls, not three girls, not 5 girls, not 10 girls, not 20 girls, not 30 girls, dozens of girls, ladies and gentlemen, dozens of girls were suffering from a mystery illness, and some were even paralyzed. They were having seizures, and they were never able to figure out what the problem was. All right? Here we go again, right, folks? Can you hear me? This was a year and a half ago at a high school in New York. How can you have dozens of high school girls having seizures and being paralyzed, and then they say that it was all in their heads, ladies and gentlemen? How is it possible that a junior high school in Texas had a similar mystery illness where the students and staff, there were hundreds of complaints filed by, I believe, almost 70 people at this junior high. When 70 people in a junior high are complaining, including staff members, teachers, the principal, and they can't figure out what's wrong, it isn't because they don't know what's causing the problem, folks. It's they're being told not to look at the electromagnetic exposure. They tested the air quality, they tested the mold spore concentration, the oxygen levels, they tested for chemical solvents and sewer gas and their air conditioning HVAC system. They come up with something called dirty sock syndrome, where no, you don't get paralyzed from breathing moldy socks. Come on. Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, there have been a couple of dry runs at the 60 gigahertz WIKIJOE systems that they're going to use on us. Now, they've already put WIKIJOE systems in Puerto Rico. They use WIKIJOE backhaul systems for short distance point-to-point communications in the cities in Puerto Rico now. They've put them in. You cannot sit here and let a school district or a public health official tell you that dozens of girls are making this up. Okay? You can't do that. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear that it's all in their head. My daughter is telling me she couldn't walk or she couldn't get up, and they're telling me it's all in their head. You know what I would do? I wouldn't sit there and say, oh, yes, sir, Mr. PhD, education doctor, as I worship the ground you walk on, you overpaid, worthless piece of trash bureaucrat. No, but the problem is they do this in areas where there are no dads. They go into these Title I schools that are, you know, all on the free lunch program. The dads are either out of the picture or in jail. That's where they experiment on people, folks. You think the Tuskegee experiments ended? They're still going. They're testing out their electromagnetic weaponry on school children and on staff. See, what they did is they got you addicted to using all these wireless gadgets so you'll accept the next generation of the weaponry. I don't know how many times I have to talk about this, but this is very important. You got to understand something. WIKIJOE is the new Wi-Fi they're going to roll out. It's going to be compatible with the 5G systems that are coming. They've got all these numbers that confuse you, but you know, if you have a Wi-Fi router right now, it's broadcasting on 2 bands, okay? It broadcasts on 2 radio stations. One's 2.4 gigahertz, and the other is 5 gigahertz, okay? Now, that's not a 5G system in your house. That's a traditional Wi-Fi system, and it's called Wi-Fi, wireless fidelity, because it uses the 2.4 gigahertz channel and the 5 gigahertz channel. Now, it uses a teeny little bit in between those two as well. But my point is 5 gigahertz is not 5G, folks. 5G is like 12 gigahertz all the way up to like almost 80 gigahertz. Now, what's the significance of all this? Well, the new Wi-Fi is going to operate at a frequency of 60 gigahertz. That's the WIKIJOE system that's going to replace your traditional Wi-Fi router when you have the Internet of Things going in your house. And they'll roll this out slowly. They'll probably even give them away for free. You know, just like the Red Cross used to give out cigarettes to addict our soldiers during the war. Remember that? That's right. The Red Cross used to give out cigarettes to our young men that were in the trenches getting their body parts blown to pieces, fighting the wars for the bankers. That's right. So they come back all jacked up on cigarettes, right? Did you ever notice in the old movies everybody's teeth were all disgusting and all yellow and their gums were gone? I mean, I like the Twilight Zone and some of the old science fiction movies from the 50s and the 60s. It's interesting, but you know, we have this thing in our minds that those were great times. You know, they were just as bad as now. We had lots of problems back then. But the point I'm making is, it's not the first time that free stuff that is evil will be given away by government agencies or large nonprofits connected to non-governmental organizations. Okay? WIKIJOE is the new weaponry, folks, and it's coming to a home near you, and it's going to be on the shelves of the stores real soon. And what's so horrible about this stuff is it's been put into a couple of places, and it's had disastrous health impacts. Paralysis, seizures, numbness, tingling of extremities, nausea, dizziness, vomiting, stomach pain. And it's coming. And they know what this stuff does. Like I said, it's a psychotronic electromagnetic voodoo doll system. Let me ask you a question. If they bring in one of these new WIKIJOE systems and say, oh yeah, here you go, this is free. It'll run all your Internet of Things and your new 5G phone in your house and stuff. Did it ever occur to you that they can dial into that thing from the cell tower and change the channel and make it into the weapon that it was actually designed to be? Did it ever occur to you that when we get up into these frequencies that were developed by the military to hurt people and as crowd control frequencies, you know, the weaponry that the military developed for crowd control frequencies, you know, the frequencies that the millimeter had figured out are good for crowd control weaponry, that's what they're bringing in, folks. 5G and WIKIJOE uses the frequencies that the military has figured out that are good for crowd control. This is electromagnetic weaponry. Do you hear me? They're going to have you bring these things in your house. They're going to have you sign up for a long-term pay plan on the new cell phones. They're going to have you buy all these tablets and coffee makers that communicate with millimeter waves, folks. And you'll be able to tune in remotely and play with it and listen to you and figure out if you're having espresso or you're growing dope in your house, okay? They have ways to figure out what frequencies are good for what. They can surveil, they can get into your LED light bulbs. It's all part of the system, folks. It's all connected. You know, LED lights, if you've ever taken one apart, because as a child, my favorite thing was to copy my dad growing up. And my dad was always taking things apart on the weekends. And it wasn't because he enjoyed taking things apart. It's because we were poor, we were broke, and he had no choice but to fix things, because things always broke back then. Whether it was the washing machine, whether it was a bicycle, whether it was a car, whether it was the lawnmower, whether it was the dryer, whether it was any mechanical object, whether it was a television or a radio, the tubes burned out in it. My dad was always fixing stuff. And, you know, any young boy would want to be like his dad and prove to his dad that he could be a man too, so I would take things apart. Now, sometimes my dad would get mad at me because I took things apart that weren't broken. But here's the thing, folks. I still take things apart today that aren't broken, so I figure out what they are. And if you look at some of these LED light bulbs, there's computer chips in there. And there's a power source in there. And these things can be remote controlled, folks. These things can be integrated into a web, a matrix, so to speak, of home surveillance, of outside surveillance. You don't think these LED lights are used for something just besides screwing you up, giving you the wrong color temperature at the wrong time of the day, do you? No. It's electromagnetic weaponry, folks. That's what it is. So, in order to win this war that's being waged on us, we got to understand the weapons. And the weapons are radio frequency emission sources that are going to be coming to the shelves pretty soon. You already got half this crap in your house. Get it out! Get this stuff out of your house! Now! Now! Get the cords and plug everything in and buy up as much Ethernet cable and hardwired stuff that you can get your hands on before they ban it. And get ready to hang on to your old computers and don't get rid of them. Because the new stuff doesn't have any plugs, ladies and gentlemen. That's like selling cigarettes without filters. They're doing it on purpose. They want you to inhale all that wonderful stuff. You know, tobacco is an incredible plant because it has this tremendous ability to absorb beta particles of radiation and store them in the leaves. And you wonder why there's such a carcinogenic effect to smoking tobacco. That's because all this trapped radioactive particles ends up getting re-released when you inhale the smoke. Well, that's why they marketed the stuff to kill everybody. They knew damn well that cigarettes were bad, and they had doctors touting cigarettes as a health aid, as an aid to lose weight, as an aid to have an easier delivery of your child. Unbelievable. There's advertisements that say doctors recommend Camels more than any other cigarette. Non-filters! Now we got doctors like Dr. Roman Scholes in Fullerton, who goes around in his wheelchair to school boards and tells them how safe wireless is. Same problem here, folks. Another weaponized idiot. And the irony of that poor soul is that he was brought to his knees by a mosquito bite that I believe he's paralyzed because he has been poisoned by the radio frequency emissions in the hospital setting, in the surgical setting that he worked in, with all the RF scanners and all the radio frequency microwave telemetry and all the radio frequency electromagnetic pollution that the guy lived in. It breathed all the chemicals and all the solvents. It gave him modern day polio. They blamed it on West Nile or something. But look, folks, polio is a collapse of the nervous system from toxins and electromagnetic overload. These kids in this high school in New York were given a version of an electromagnetic overload that gave them polio-type symptoms. It's going on again with 85 kids right now all over the United States this month alone have polio-type symptoms with no cause. Is it due to electromagnetic warfare? Perhaps. Is it a combination of electromagnetic warfare combined with mosquito bites? Perhaps. Perhaps they've put something in these mosquitoes. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to listen to me. While you hear my voice, you need to pay attention. Because we don't know how much time we have. They're moving fast on this stuff. Trump is pushing 5G like some coke dealer back in the 1980s was trying to get into the high schools, okay? He wants this stuff everywhere because he's got his orders. His bosses want this stuff everywhere before the people figure out what it is. They want this stuff installed before the devices are even here because they want the backbone of the surveillance and the weapons grid in full operation before the people wake up. Because here's the deal. If they can put the stuff in, and we know that these 5G systems use the same frequency as the military designed them for as crowd control, then they'll be able to do crowd control so we won't be able to wake up. We need to wake up now. We need to wake up now, folks. We need to wake up, and the most important thing you could do is not bring this stuff into your house and keep it from getting into your house. If you've got aluminum or metal Venetian blinds on your windows, for God's sake, don't throw them away. Hang on to them. Get your hands on some lead paint. Find some way to shield your house. If they put this stuff outside your house, plant trees in front of it. I don't care what you do. Order all those space blankets and cover your windows with them. You know what I'm talking about, folks. This is weaponry. You do not let these people install this stuff on your property. It's a weapon system. You need to understand what they're doing, folks. You need to understand. And you need to understand that they're not playing around and they're moving really fast. They're really moving fast with the vaccine agenda too, folks. I keep talking about this because their solution is always going to be an injection as a solution to the irradiation. Because they're going to induce this illness, like I said in that video on the front page of my YouTube channel. They're going to induce this illness with radio frequency exposure, and they're going to come up with a vaccine. That's right, folks. They're going to come up with a vaccine that's going to have more nanotech, that's going to be reactive with the frequencies to make you sicker. That's their plan. And you know what? There are some of you out there. There are some of you out there right now who know what I'm talking about and who don't care. And you know what? That's fine. You can enjoy your hot dog on a stick. You can enjoy your ding dongs. You can enjoy your microwave hot pockets. You can enjoy your oxys. You can enjoy all the things. You can suck on that bong until your lung collapses. I don't care. But those of you who are listening to me, and I'm not knocking any of that stuff, I'm just telling you that we are in a matrix that's modeled after Logan's Run, folks. And you need to wake up. And we can defeat this by getting out in front of it. Just like we can stop them from pulling stuff off if we call their bluff and let them know, hey, we're out in front, you do this, we know it's you, and you'll be exposed. People need to wake up before this stuff goes in. I'm going to do whatever I can. I'm going to do whatever I can to let you know what these people are up to. Your president has pretty much signed, you know, for lack of a better term, folks, he's pretty much signed a nationalization edict to put this military-grade weaponry everywhere in the United States. And here's the problem. It doesn't go through your walls. It doesn't go through your windows. If you've got the certain window coverings. So you got to have a thingamajobber on outside of your house that goes inside your house, or you got to have this thing on your satellite dish that transmits into your house, or you got to have this thing near your window to pick up the signal and rebroadcast it in your house. That's the 60 gigahertz WIKIJOE weaponry. WIKIJOE weaponry, the new Wi-Fi systems, folks, it uses the oxygen molecule absorption spectrum, folks. They're using 60 gigahertz. They're using 60 gigahertz. Hey, I don't have my Bible in my car right now. You want to know why? Because I gave it to a very special woman named Joyce at church on Sunday who really needed prayer. And once again, I want you to pray for Joyce because she's going through some trouble right now. She thinks people are after her, and she may have good reason to believe her life is in danger. I had some creep in my front yard and on my property the other night at 2:30 in the morning, crawling up my hill trying to get into my yard. That's okay. I'm locked and loaded. You come into my house, you won't make it to the trial. I'm just letting you know. And you better bring a lot of your friends because I've got some things that's going to be ready for all you and your buddies. You come into my house, you ain't going to make it to the trial. That's my promise to you. You come into my yard, you may make it to the trial, but you may not be able to speak or to walk or to talk. All right? That's a fact. I had somebody on my property at 2:30 in the morning, not too long ago, all dressed in black, and it wasn't Santa Claus, folks. I'm not afraid of you scumbags, okay? I'm not afraid to be intimidated, okay? I don't care what you say or what you do. I'm not backing down because it's all on the line, folks. It's all on the line. And you evil scumbags that think you're going to get away with this, you got another thing coming. People are waking up. And they're not going to put up with this. And if I've got 10,000 people that are going to watch this, or 50,000 people that get the notifications, or millions of people that have seen these videos, guess what? I've done my job. But it ain't over because you got to do your job and you got to get this information out there. We are under attack by electromagnetic weaponry that is being installed by weaponized idiots in city government, in county government, in state government, and federal government that is voting to install this weaponry, knowing full well what it does, refusing to sit down and have discussions with the constituents, refusing to look at the information they're being presented in public discussion sessions in public meetings. They don't care. They don't care. Well, guess what? You know what? The joke's on you and the joke's on your kids because you're the ones with autistic kids. You're the ones with all these health problems because you double down and stick the iPads in your kids' laps and your kids ain't having kids. Joke's on you guys who work for the government, not me. Joke's not on me or my kids because I don't care what you do. My kids are having kids, and if something happens to my family, we're all going to heaven. And we're going to get to be together forever. And all you people that deny Jesus Christ, guess where you're going? You're going to the other side of town, and the party is a hot one, all right, about 100,000 degrees. It's a narrow gate, folks, and there's a lot of people that ain't going to make it. And I'm going to tell you something. These people that don't want to listen, that's not your job to hit them over the head. Your job is to put the truth out. My job is to put the truth out. We put the truth out. We let the chips fall where they may, and we protect our families. That is a fact, folks. You crossed the threshold, you crossed the line. Now, the electromagnetic weaponry needs to be removed from your home. You got to get rid of anything that says smart on it. Smart TV, smart this, smart that. Get it the hell out of your house. All right? Get it out of your house. All of it. You idiots. You're ruining your health and you're getting ready. You see, they've been wearing you down. Did you know that the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi system that you have in your house, that is broadcasting at a frequency at which the dielectric loss of water begins. That's the frequency that they've chosen that the water molecules rotate on their axis on and start vibrating on. 2.4 billion times a second that field oscillates, and those water molecules rotate on their axis to line up with the field oscillation. Water's a polar molecule. It's got a positive and negative dipole moment on it. The thing is going to move around with the field oscillation. They're vibrating the crap out of everything right now, and they've got you to bring it into your house. Now they're going to come up with a newfangled version so you can play Netflix while you're taking a dump, or you can watch porno in the garage when nobody's looking on your new WIKIJOE 5G system. Folks, this is a scam. This is a con job. This is a kill grid. And here's the solution. Very simple. Shut it off. Shut it off. Stay as far away from this stuff as you can. If you're in an environment where you're forcibly exposed to it, stay away from it. And make sure you have plenty of carbonyl iron in your body. Eat your green leafy vegetables. Iron absorbs microwaves. It'll protect your brain. It'll protect your bones. You don't want to have and you better watch your iron levels, folks. I want to tell you a little secret about iron. Iron is good for you, and a good source of iron is black olives. You know the juice in the black olives? It has a compound called ferrous gluconate. It's a very absorbable form of iron. It's a plant-based form of iron. It's the right oxidation state for proper absorption. It doesn't constipate. So if you like olives, drink the juice. And if you need iron, you can take carbonyl iron supplements. Order them online. I don't sell it. Or you can also do another thing. You could buy things called like Floridix with iron and herbs. That's a good, it also is a ferrous gluconate source of iron. But you got to get iron. You got to get your iron levels where they need to be, folks. Iron is a microwave absorber, and if you're exposed to too much microwave radiation, your body's going to take all that iron and it's going to pull it into the bones. You're going to have regression into the bone marrow. And guess what happens when that happens, folks? Leukemia. That's right. Microwave exposure causes leukemia, folks. And I want to tell you something. I don't want to get into too much medical stuff right now. All I'm telling you is you better make sure you got the right iron levels and the right type of iron in your body. You need to get the aluminum out of your life. Don't be drinking out of aluminum cans, okay? There's a reason why they use aluminum cans. You got to get iodine in your body. Kelp powder or iodine roll-on. I don't care if it's betadine from the hospital. Roll it on your tummy. It doesn't matter. Your body will suck it through your skin. Hey, you guys ever had to jump start an old outboard motor? You know, when I was a teenager and I had a fishing boat, I was broke and I had an old piece of junk and it would never start. And there was nothing worse than being 15 miles out in the Pacific Ocean at 3 o'clock in the afternoon with a west wind kicking up and the swell coming at the back of the boat getting ready to swamp the thing, and that stupid outboard wouldn't start. So I'd have to pull the cover off and I'd have to take a can of ether and spray the foam around the carburetor. And you could hear that motor, once it got fired up, sucking it in. You could hear that motor sucking in the fuel. That's what your body does with iron. It'll suck it in right off your skin. It sucks it right out of the air. You got to have iodine, kelp powder, kelp, good seaweed, good kelp, cheap as dirt, folks. I'm telling you, the solutions here, they're caveman level. All right? They're caveman level. And the way we're going to win this is by being common sense, practical human beings, not these technologically emasculated pansies that they're trying to turn us into as they want us to put boobs on us and cut our tools off. No! I'm not going to sit here. You know, it's funny. I see all this stuff all around me that makes absolutely no sense. And now I understand why. Because everybody's staring at the television set getting mind controlled. What is this, Black Mirror in everybody's house? Folks, look around. The blue glow is going in everybody's house. Everybody's sucked into these talking idiots on the idiot box. That's right. Everything needs to get ripped out of your house tonight, folks. I mean it. These guys are moving fast, and you got to find a way to go back to the old ways of communications. Go to Goodwill and start buying some old landlines and plug them in. You got to find ways to get rid of all the wireless stuff in your house. These cordless phones are like a cell phone broadcasting all day long. They never stop broadcasting because they're constantly in communication with the base station. These cordless phones can cause autism and all kinds of problems. You need to get them out of your house. That's all they sell. You ever seen the new and improved 5 gigahertz ones? Are even worse. These cordless phones, folks, do you talk on your cell phone all day and leave it on 24 hours a day? How many cordless phones do you have in your house? That's exactly what's going on. They microwave you in your house and they have you doing it. Electromagnetic weaponry, that's what we're under attack by, folks. And you want to know something? This is a Bush League attack on us because it's easily defeated by unplugging a few wires, and don't let them on your property to install this crap. You lock them out, put up no trespassing signs, and you film them, you call the cops. They come on your property, you don't grant them permission. Let me tell you something. You know who has permission to come on your property? Nobody. If you have a utility easement, it needs to be the utility company, not some subcontractor. You tell them to get the hell off your property, call the police. You get the police out there. You get the sheriff out there, you film the whole thing. And you tell them what they're doing, and then you put them on notice that this is a weapon, and you're going to personally sue them for deploying the weaponry. And you get their name, you photograph everything about them, their faces, their car, their license plate, and you get ready to rock and roll, okay? All right, folks, that's enough. I can't do this all day long. I got to have dinner. You guys need to figure out a way to stop killing your family. Did you know that the current microwave emissions coming out of Wi-Fi and the iPads, you know, all that rotating on the axis, do you know what that does to like things like insulin receptors? It results in a phenomenon called structural isomerism. See this? See this hand? That's four fingers and a thumb, right? See, that's 4 fingers. See how it matches nice and perfect? You know what happens when you tweak it with a bunch of radiation? It changes the configuration. Is this a match now? No. You see what happens is it results in structural isomerism. Wi-Fi makes you fat, okay? It does. It makes you fat. It messes up your insulin receptors, folks. It makes you it makes your insulin levels all jacked up, and it makes you turn sugar into fat like nobody's business. That's why I'm telling you to get off the sugar. I got to get off this, folks. I got things to do, and I want you all to pay attention when I'm talking. All this stuff that's out there is just a big con job, folks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we may have a live broadcast tonight about 10 o'clock Pacific time. It just depends on how things go at the house. I got tons of stuff to talk about. There's no end to the information. Structural isomerism is a direct result of Wi-Fi exposure with our insulin receptors. Insulin receptors are affected by microwaves. There have been plenty of studies that have been kept under lock and key on the computer modeling of effects of low power, non-thermal microwave radiation's effect on insulin receptors that clearly show that structural isomerism has been found to take place, and that means that the insulin receptors cannot bind. You can't regulate insulin levels. That's why these kids are getting all fat, folks. It's a sin. This is evil. This is electromagnetic warfare, and this is just the low-level stuff they've rolled out. You wait for the big guns. The big guns are the WIKIJOE that mess with the oxygen molecules. That's right. WIKIJOE uses 60 gigahertz that mixes with the oxygen molecules. And you know what, folks? The air is going to be in the air, but your hemoglobin won't be able to grab it because it affects the orbital spin properties of the valence electrons of diatomic oxygen. It's called magnetobiology, folks. They don't teach you this in school. They don't want you to know. They want you to learn how to give drugs to everybody and cut people into pieces and harvest their organs. In Jesus' name, Father, watch over all the people that are listening to this and bless all of us that are involved in this war of information and defending our families. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless, folks. Maybe we'll be back tonight.